Okay, now I firmly believe that this is going to be the last GX era archetype I look at in this series. And yeah, this is the Divine Dragon archetype used by Chosaku Manjome, and yeah, he is Jun Manjome's older brother. In that ever so wonderful one duel when Manjome had a handicap to not use monsters with 500 attack or more. So yeah, it was hilarious to see, but yeah, if he used Time Lords during that duel, I think Chosaku would have dropped the duel right off the bats as soon as he summoned freaking Time Angel onto the field, or Time Maiden. So yeah, it's a 12 card archetype, and yeah, let's start looking at it with our first monster, Divine Dragon Ragnarok. It's a level 4 vanilla, part of the archetype due to the name, and one of the fusion monster requires it as a fusion material. So yeah, this is a bit of a mediocre start, but yeah. Next up we have Divine Dragon Apocalyph. All right, bit of a weird name, but anyway, Divine Dragon Apocalyph has reverse stats of Divine Dragon Ragnarok. Is a dark monster, and it has an effect once per turn to discard one card and target one dragon type monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Okay, I know I would have actually preferred if this thing straight up special summoned a dragon type monster, but it can be used as a decent recycling tool. It actually sets up a certain spell card, well, two of them I'll mention later. So yeah, it's a pretty okay serviceable card. And yeah, next up we have Lord of D. Yeah, I know what you're thinking right now, but yeah, it might be hilarious to some, it might not, but yeah, this is one of the memeiest card ever to exist. But yeah, it has a very simple effect which was kind of okay for the time. Neither player can target dragon monsters on the field with card effects. So yeah, back in the day this was actually a very nice protection for your dragon type monsters, and yeah, he has a few spell cards which can which prove a decent target in conjunction with him. So yeah, it's an okay card. Nowadays it's basically too frail to even be considered worthy enough to stay on the field to keep a protection up. So yeah, its usage is not as grandiose as it was back in the day, but it's still an okay card, and one of the fusion monsters requires it as a material, so there's that incentive to run him. Much as the next monster, that being Lady of D. This one's even funnier, trust me. And this one has the same stats as Divine Dragon Ragnarok, except it has 100 more defense. And your opponent cannot target face-up dragon-type monsters you control for attacks this time. And if this card on the field would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can send one dragon-type monster from your hand to the graveyard instead. It's an okay card. I actually love this thing a bit more than Lord of D because it actually has protection built onto it. It's not perfect, but it's still better than nothing. So yeah, this is an okay card. And last up in the D deal, we have the King of D. And yeah, has the same stats as the regular Lord of D, and its name becomes Lord of D when it is while it's on the field. And when it's normal summoned, you can discard one spell or trap card to add one Flute of Summoning Dragon, the Melody of Awakening Dragon, or one Dragon Revival Rhapsody from your deck to your hand. What he searches out is your entire spell and trap lineup at the cost of discarding one spell or trap of your own. They don't have any other spell or traps beside the ones mentioned, so yeah, you'll probably be discarding one of the set trap cards, or you know, any other spell or trap you choose to run at the moment, which probably, well, the only decent thing I can imagine this being discarded with this effect is Metal Flows Fusion. So yeah, in order to get an extra card off of that. So yeah, there's that incentive, and yeah, it's a straight upgrade over the Lord of D. Well, not exactly, because it doesn't have the sweet protection Lord of D offered, the original one. However, this one is a searcher, so yeah, it's it kind of works like that as well. Going back to the Divine Dragon arsenal, we have Divine Dragon Aqua Bizarre, a level 5 with 2100 attack and 1500 defense, a Sea Serpent for some reason. And once per turn you can tribute one other face-up water monster and select one continuous or field spell card in your graveyard to return it to the top of the deck. I am baffled to why this card even exists. First of all, the archetype does not even have any other water monsters in the archetype. Second, this thing is a Sea Serpent for whatever reason, instead of being just a dragon to conjunct well with the archetype. Third, the archetype does not have any field or continuous spell cards, as we'll see later on. And lastly, why the hell is this thing a level 5? I am not sure what what game state this is supposed to induce, but all I can think of is you don't want to run this thing. Next up we have Divine Dragon Accel, another level 5, so with 1500 attack and 900 defense, worse stats than Divine Dragon Ragnarok. And when this card is normal summoned, it gets one of the following effects for each Divine Dragon Accel in your graveyard when its effects resolves, your choice. These effects cannot accumulate, for whatever that means. And the effects are the following. This card gains 1000 attack. If the second one is if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it can attack once again in a row. And third, when this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the destroyed monster. Okay, so the first and second effect are more than enough for you to deliver the massive beatdown, since this becomes a level 5 with 2500 attack that can attack twice. And if you have like stuff like that can copy effects from the graveyard or that pose as a certain monster while in the graveyard, you won't be activating all three of these effects all at once, which is actually sad because this is their best monster in the main decks, bar none. So yeah, it's a bit of a chore to summon slightly, but you can make workarounds, such as with Monarch Stormfort. There's a certain spell card that can bring him out more easily. So yeah, everything checks out. So almost. So yeah, it's an okay card. And moving on to the extra deck, we have King Dragoon, their fusion monster, the level 7 fusion monster, which requires specifically Lord of D and Divine Dragon Ragnarok. And your opponent cannot select any dragon-type monsters as the targets of spell, trap, or monster effects, basically carrying the effect of Lord of D while removing the restriction from your targeting. So yeah, and its other effect is that once per turn you can special summon one dragon-type monster from your hand, which is fine. And yeah, most of the dragon-type monsters you run in this the deck can usually be normal summoned or special summoned by other means. So yeah, it can help out with bringing out other new boss monsters. So yeah, it's you run one or two of these. And their last monster is the rank 4 Xyz Queen Dragoon Djinn. Why is this a Djinn card is beyond me, but yeah, it requires 2 level 4 monsters, has 2200 attack and 1200 defense, and dragon-type monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle, except Queen Dragoon Djinn. Once per turn you can detach one Xyz material from this card to target one level 5 or higher dragon-type monster in your graveyard, special summon that target, and it cannot attack, and it cannot attack this turn, and its effects are negated. I find it actually worse than King Dragoon because of the effect negation, because it basically shuts down Accel. So yeah, waste of a cool, very, very spicily delicious artwork in my opinion. And our first spell card is the aforementioned the Flute of Summoning Dragon. Special summon up to 2 dragon-type monsters from your hand, and you must control our Lord of D in order to activate and resolve this effect. Back in the day, this was a tolerable way to swarm multiple dragon-type monsters onto the field. So yeah, you ran the original Lord of D out of obligation, as no matter how horrible he might have been. So yeah, it's it can be run nowadays as a decent tech option in various dragon focus decks, but it's been entirely outclassed by Red Eye's Darkness Middle Dragon in that regard. Next up we have Dragon Revival Rhapsody. If you control a spellcaster monster, you can target up to 2 dragon monsters in your graveyard. Sorry, including at least 1 normal monster. Special summon them when your opponent takes no damage this turn, and you can only activate 1 per turn. Okay, so this is actually a very nice card, no question about it. You run a few normal monsters, you know, Divine Dragon, Ragnarok, and all time, and some generic large beaters such as Trihorn Dragon, maybe a Red Eyes Black Dragon for rank 7 fodder. You know, the Red Eyes Archetype is actually one of the archetype that has most benefits from this card, so yeah, it's a very nice card indeed. And yeah, due to them having a lot of Geminis and all that. So yeah, and also the artwork is absolutely fantastic as it gives off a fantastic Akamega kill reference from the beginning of the show. Sadly, it reminds me how what was the armor dude called? Dude, I can't remember. The Incrucio. I'm gonna call him Incrucio. Yeah, it reminds me how Crucio died, so yeah. Cool reference, cool artwork, and yeah, it's an all-around cool card. And the last card is the Melody of Awakening Dragon. Discard 1 card, add up to 2 dragon monsters with 3000 or more attack and 2500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. As you've probably deduced up until now, the most applicable usage this card has is in a Blue Eyes deck, because the largest search pool of the monsters this thing can offer is from the Blue Eyes monsters, and yeah, this is basically a 3-off staple in Blue Eyes decks, and yeah, it's a sad state of affairs when the Blue Eyes have a search card, well, when their best search card is not even a member of their own archetype. That says quite a lot about them, don't you say? Anyway, time for the grades. In terms of consistency, we have their Spell and Trap lineup. Well, 2 of them offer some decent recursion. We have some stuff like King Dragoon in order to keep swarming the field. Then Epochal has a decent recycling ability. Other generic dragon type support and other attribute and type searches help out from the outside. I'm not gonna pretend it's nothing, but it's still worth enough to for me to bump it to a 2 out of 3. Power does not exist all across the board. The only decent power output they can produce is Accelian, and yeah, if you don't have proper setup for him, it's pretty much dead in your hand. So yeah, other outside dragon members are the only thing that can bump up the power output, so yeah, 1 out of 3 in terms of power. Comeback ability also gets a 1 out of 3 because once you shut them down properly, which is, again, if you're not running any other outside dragon support, very easy to do, yeah, you've basically won the game already, so 1 out of 3. Protection, I'm actually gonna give him a 2 out of 3. I'm gonna actually be generous since the existence of Lady of D, Lord of D, King Dragoon, and Queen Dragoon. So yeah, I'm gonna be generous there. And as for the versatility, yeah, King Dragoon has been seen running recently in some very meta dominant extra deck spam decks. So yeah, I'm gonna be generous and give him a 2 out of 3 in versatility. And actually, yeah, that was the Divine Dragon archetype, and I would actually like to see this concept overall improved, and in the following way. Well, in a way that it works like this: like you have the main deck monsters, which are built around female spellcasters, and which work in the extra deck to get towards the extra deck dragon type monsters. That concept would be actually so amazing to see, and I would immediately want to play the deck. The upcoming Dragon Maids archetype is very awesome and in its concept, and I would love to have it one day when it comes to the TCG. And you bet your ass I'll be ordering some Dragon Maid cards because I love the concept and I would like to see it expanded upon, and maybe some other archetypes. And in this thing I've just said, with main deck made out of female spellcasters and the extra deck made out of dragon type monsters. I don't care if what summoning mechanic it is. But I would prefer if it was either a link spam or synchro spam deck. So yeah. Alright, that was it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos and updates. Comment, like, and subscribe. And as usual, I'll upload the next vid whenever I can. See you all. Have a good day. And peace.